What's going on, everybody? What's going on? My name's Johnny TCG. I'm excited to see you here today. Today, we're talking about the one, the only Don Quixote Rosinante, a blue-green leader from OP05, a leader that doesn't really get talked about a lot nowadays. There's some spicy lists that pop up on the internet from time to time. People talk about it then, but really, no one's really playing this leader. I saw a couple lists from OP11 in the East that I really liked, so I tried them out, and I can't wait to talk about them with you today. Today, we're going to do a deep deck profile, then we're going to do a custom leader giveaway. You're going to want to stick around for that. The leader's looking pretty cool, and then, of course, we're going to take this deck to the sim, see how it does, and then talk about it afterwards. If you like the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. Let's get into the deck profile. Don Quixote Rosinante from OP05 is one of the most unique leaders in the game. Not only is he dual color, blue, green, 4 life, 5000 power, but he also has the ability of blocker. He's the only leader in the game that has the blocker attribute, and that's just so unique. It might catch you off guard at first because you might be like, why would I want to block with my leader? I don't want to take hits to my life, you know? That brings me closer to losing the game, but I promise you'll see in the gameplay just how that works. It's especially good early on in the game. For example, to protect your smaller bodies. If they're swinging one of their smaller bodies into one of your smaller bodies, for example, you can block that for free. Or if they're swinging a big body into a smaller body, maybe keeping that smaller body on the board is more important than taking a life. So maybe you block with your leader, take the life, and keep that body on the board. We'll get into what bodies I'm talking about exactly. Like any other blocker, he does have to be active to use his ability, and one way that happens is that at the end of the turn, if you have 6 or less cards in your hand, you get to set him as active. So be aware of that when you're playing him. It's easy to forget about that stipulation, and so maybe you have 7 or 8 cards in your hand, you forget that he does not get to restand himself, but when your hand size is relatively low, you get to restand him, and yeah, everybody's happy about that. In the OP11 meta, blue-purple Luffy is going to take over, basically. Honestly, this deck is not amazing into it. Like, it can be okay if you can get out an 8-cost Useless Captain Kid, and then maybe a 9-cost Zoro along with it, but that's just a hard matchup, folks. Unfortunately, I can't come to you today and say I found the blue-purple Luffy killer, but this deck does work really well into a lot of other decks. I think you're going to find a lot of success with it, and you're going to have a lot of fun with it. I genuinely think this is a pretty strong deck. The first card in this deck I'll talk about is 4 copies of the 8-cost, 8000 power OP01 Useless Captain Kid. Everybody knows this card by now, everybody loves this card by now, but this deck specifically has a really interesting interaction with him. Of course, when he's on the field and has a down card and rested, your opponent can only attack into him. But there are certain situations where if your leader is active, you might want to block and actually keep him on the board. Yeah, maybe you take a life card, but that life card could end up being counter that you later use to keep your Captain Kid alive. Almost every single game that I win with this leader revolves around getting that 8-cost Useless Captain Kid on the board. Next, we have 4 copies of OP04 Sugar, a 2-cost 0-power body with 1k of counter. She is actually one of the sleeper cards in the deck. If you've ever played against a leader that plays Sugar, you'll understand just how annoying she is. Do not underestimate her. First, she has the on-play of resting one of your opponent's characters with a cost 4 or less. That's pretty solid. I mean, you could go for game with her, basically using her as an Usohachi or a Hody Jones. But what most people know her for is what happens on your opponent's turn, where she has the ability of opponent's turn once per turn. When your opponent plays a character, if your leader has the Don Quixote Pirates typing, which ours does, you get to rest up to one of your opponent's characters and then also rest this character. So in this situation, your opponent plays a character, you rest maybe a character that would have been able to swing this turn, then your opponent's like, okay, I really want to get Sugar off the board, now Sugar's rested, they swing into Sugar, but you block with your leader, and keeping Sugar on the board makes it super frustrating for your opponent to deal with. I use this play a lot in the game, so you'll see that today. 4 of the OP05 Don Quixote Rosinante blocker. This is a classic card to pair along with the 8-cost Captain Kid. Being able to save your rested characters from KO effects is just so crazy. Next up, we have 3 copies of the 9-cost 9000 power OP06 Secret Rare Roronoa Zoro, an absolutely monster of a card. And I finally found a deck that he works pretty well in. Okay, that's maybe dramatic. I think he works decently in Bonnie as well. But in this deck, in the OP11 meta, I do find him really valuable. I saw a couple lists that were running him at 4, and while I did have him in 4 for a lot of games, I did a lot of testing, I did decide to cut him down to 3, possibly even 2. I mean, for the blue-purple matchup, at least in my opinion, he felt like my only hope. But in other matchups, I don't always play him. 8-cost Useless Captain Kid is going to be more so my hope for those matchups. For those that don't know, Zoro can swing 3 times a turn basically, which is just insane. Perfect way to go for game, just throwing a bunch of down on him, swinging big 3 times. Yeah, who doesn't love that? Especially if you have an 8 cost kid on the board to get all of your opponent's attention. And then also combining that with the 3 cost Tashigi that prevents your other green characters from being removed from the board from effects. Ooh, that's just the perfect setup, folks. 4 of the 5 cost 6,000 power OP08 carrots. This card is really good. If you've watched any of my Bonnie videos, if you just watched my recent carrot video, you'll just know how good this card is. I run it as basically 3 of or 4 of. She's got the on play and when attacking that you get to freeze up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. They don't become active during your opponent's next refresh phase. I don't need to explain just how good that is. 4 of the OP10 Tashigis, 3 cost 4,000 power, a 2k counter, and then she also has the ability to prevent your other characters from being removed from the board. A great card to combo with Eustace Captain Kid, and also can just be used as a 2k. Nothing crazy for me to say here, folks. Next up, we've got 4 of the starter deck 12 Dracula Mihawks, 3 cost 4,000 power. More so, I care about the 2k counter aspect of him, and then his ability that on play, if you have 2 or less characters, you then get to cheat out a cost 4 or less Slash or Shigeru Kingdom character other than Dracula Mihawk from your hand. The main target for this, it might even be our only target, is this Cavendish. If you're going first on 3 Dawn, being able to establish this, which is whatever, but also the 4 cost 6,000 power Cavendish, that's so good, folks. This Cavendish, I'm just going to jump right to him because he's so important to our game plan. He's my favorite card to get out early. 4 cost 6,000 power, that's a solid stat line. No counter, that's a bummer, but his ability is just so good. Once per turn, when attacking, every turn you get to draw 2, trash 1. This is going to be insane card draw for you, folks. There's no stipulation on hand size or whatever. It's just simply draw 2, trash 1, +1 card advantage every time you swing with him. Then also being able to just cycle your hand and find the cards you need is absolutely perfect. That's how this deck kind of works without searchers, is that you're just going to have crazy card draw between Cavendish and Ivankov. You're going to be able to find your bodies like your 8-cost Captain Kid when you need to. At least that's how it's ideally supposed to work. This combination does work pretty well, except when your characters can't stay on the board, then yeah, that can be rough. One good thing again with our leader is that if our opponent wants to swing big early into the Cavendish, we are happy to use Rosinante's ability and just take the hit, take the life card, and keep that Cavendish off the board. As you'll see in the games, one of my biggest priorities is often just keeping a Cavendish or an Ivankov on the board because they bring you so much value. We've got the 3-cost Doflamingo blocker from OP01, 3-cost 4,000 power, 1k of counter. Nothing too crazy to see here. He's got the on play of looking at the top 5 cards of your deck, rearranging them in any order you want, and then putting them at either the top or bottom of your deck. This goes very well with the fact you're drawing cards with Cavendish and Ivankov. For that reason, I do think he's a nice addition to the deck. Besides that, he doesn't really do a ton. You can also cheat him out with your 8-cost kid, and how can you hate that, folks? I've been running 2 4-cost 4,000 power Charlotte Puddings from OP06, and frankly, I haven't been loving her. She is a 1k counter at the end of the day, which is nice. You can use her in certain situations when your opponent's hand is getting out of control, but I think that might be something I decide more once I see how this meta develops and how the games are going with every single deck. One card I could see myself cutting her for is Hody Jones, the 7-cost 8,000 power beast, the best finisher for green basically. I haven't been running him, but I do think I need to find a way to include him. Of course, he doesn't have counter, and that does feel a little bit bad, but I think I can make room for probably 2 copies of him. He's just so good, and I really need to add him to this deck. Next up, we have 4 copies of the 4-cost 5,000 power 2k counter Sabo from OP10. He's got a really interesting ability. He's got the ability of if one of your characters other than Sabo with an original cost of 7 or lower would be removed from the board by one of your opponent's effects, you may instead return him to your hand. That's pretty crazy, folks. Now, sometimes it does feel awkward to play him out because at the end of the day, he is like a 4-5 body, and as you get later on into the game, that's not really anything too special. He is a 2k counter that sometimes I do prefer to keep in my hand. There are situations where maybe you've got a Cavendish, you've got your Ivankov, you've got maybe even your Nami. Want to keep those characters on board. He is the perfect card to play out, and if they want to remove those, they're going to have to send Sabo back to your hand first, which if they send him back to your hand, while not ideal, you are getting a 2k counter back, and that's pretty cool in my book. Only new OP11 support that I'm running in this deck, and it seems like most people are running in this deck, is the 5-cost 6,000 power 1k counter Nami blocker from OP11. Of course, she's got the blocker type, but then she also has the on play of if your leader is multicolored, draw 3, and then you take 2 cards and put them either at the top or the bottom of your deck. This is a really interesting interaction. Being able to choose to maybe put them at the top is pretty crazy, the bottom as well. Next, we've got Emporio Ivankov from starter deck 12 as well. I've talked about this card a couple times already. 3 costs, 4,000 power, 1k of counter, doesn't sound anything special, but he does have some really interesting abilities that work pretty well with this leader. The first is on play, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is cost 2, then you get to play them out if you want. Then if you don't play them out, you can leave them at the top or put them at the bottom. This is a really interesting way to cheat out a Sugar or Rosinante. These are the only 2 cost bodies we have in the deck, so it's not like we're really focused on this ability. That initial on play is more of just like a bonus for me. If I hit something, then ooh, it's my lucky day, I've won the lottery, I'm going to win this game. If I don't, no biggie though. What we really care about is that second ability, is that when attacking once per turn, if your hand has 6 cards or less, draw a card. I'm telling you, when you have this combined with the Cavendish on the field and maybe even your 8 cost Eustace Captain Kidd, you're just going to be getting crazy card draw. Then you're going to use all those cards in your hand to counter out of attacks. Then you get to restand your leader as active, take a hit to save the kid, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about, folks. You'll see it in the games. If you don't believe me, this combo, the strategy is just awesome. Last but certainly not least, we have one lone copy of the 6 cost Gum Gum Red Rock from OP04. Activate main, you may place 1 character at the bottom of the owner's deck. Now, I didn't see every single list running this card. I decided to try it out though, just as a one-of. I can't say it's a necessity, but there are certainly times where it's appreciated, because the strategy for this deck is definitely more so just getting out these big bodies and sitting behind blockers and a ton of cards in hand. The Gum Gum Red Rock isn't really necessary for your game plan, but at the end of the day, it's such a strong card. I do think it's worth maybe considering adding 1 to your deck, maybe even 2. I don't know, test it for yourself and let me know what you think. And that's the list I've been running so far and having a lot of fun with it. Again, I think I gotta find a way to squeeze at least 1 or 2 Hodies in there. Hody Jones is just such a strong card. If you've been playing this leader, let me know what you think about this list. Even if you haven't been playing this leader, let me know what you think about this list down in the comments below. I would love to hear your feedback. Before we get into the games, of course, I've got a leader giveaway for you today. If you're new to the channel, we do a custom leader giveaway in just about every video. Today, we're giving away a custom Don Quixote Rosinante leader, of course. Throw it up on screen, editor, boom. It's using art from the One Piece Treasure Cruise game. I am not the artist. I am not selling this. I am not claiming to be the artist. It's just a fun, personal fan project of mine. If you want to win it, if you want to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is 1, like, 2, leave a comment. And if this video gets 25 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll randomly choose a US-based commenter to send it to you for completely free. That's all you got to do, folks. 1, leave a like. 2, leave a comment. If this video gets 25 likes in the first 25 hours, 1 random US-based commenter is getting this card in the mail, sent directly to them for free. If you like the content, if you want to see more of it and stay up to date, consider hitting that subscribe button down below as well. That being said, editor, roll the gameplay. Our first game of the day is going to be against EBO2 Green Purple Luffy. While I think Blue Purple Luffy from OP11 pushes him out of the top spot for best deck in the format, he's still definitely a really strong deck in OP11. We are going to be going first. I like going first against Green Purple Luffy so that they can't do Sanji and putting on curve. We do not have a turn 1 play, so we will pass it back to them. 2 Don for them to work with. We could see Stage, we could see a Searcher, but they just pass it back to us. 3 Don now for us to work with. I'm thinking maybe we just swing 5,000 with lead and then play out the Emporio Ivankov. They'll take the first leader swing, and then for 3 Don, we play out Ivankov. We cannot play out the Cavendish that we have at the top of our life, but I am going to leave it there for us to draw next turn so that we can cheat it out with the 3 cost Dracula Mihawk combo. I absolutely love that combo, and so while I couldn't cheat out a body, I'm pretty happy with what I found. We do hope to find some bigger bodies, though. Right now, we don't have any big bodies like the 9 cost Zoro or especially the 8 cost Eustace Captain Kidd. We really want to find that. They're going to play down the 4 cost Zoro. That rests my Ivankov. 5,000 at it now with their leader. I'm thinking we do 2k counter out of this so that we can actually use Ivankov's ability over and over. The fact that we counter cards in our hand is not really that big of a deal when we're going to get them right back between Ivankov's ability and Cavendish's ability. So we counter out of that with a 2k counter Sabo. That Sabo isn't super important in this deck, so I'm not really too stressed about letting it go. I'm going to cheat out here the Cavendish using the Mihawk's ability. There's something to be said about not even playing the Mihawk and just keeping it in my hand, but it is what it is. We'll swing 4,000 now with Ivankov into their leader. Of course, that's a free counter. They don't have to do anything about that, but we did get to draw a card. The reason I did is because this following turn, whatever they play, I'm going to be able to rest their Zoro because of it. I'm just making it really awkward for them to clear my board this turn. They're going to play on the 5-cost Sanji and Pudding. I'm going to use Sugar to rest the Zoro so that they can't swing with the Zoro. Then they will probably try to swing into either my Sugar or my Ivankov with their leader. But whichever one they choose, I will be blocking it with my leader ability just so that I can keep up this board. I really like where we're at right now. It's still very early in the game, but we've established 2 bodies that draw us cards with Cavendish, Ivankov, and then Sugar, which will be very annoying for them to deal with. We're going to take that 6,000 power swing. They still have 4 down to work with. They could play down maybe a Zoro, and yep, there's the Zoro. They're going to be able to draw a card, do a little search. They find the Nico Robin 3-cost blocker from EBO2. Nothing too crazy there. We're going to start our turn with a Cavendish swing, I guess. I always like swinging with him first because the draw 2 trash 1 is just so strong and really tells me a lot about what the rest of my turn can possibly be. 6,000 into their leader. I would like to clear the Zoro that's rested, but I think swinging the 6,000 into the leader also makes sense because they are a 6,000 power leader, just really applying a lot of pressure at them here. We found that 8-cost useless Captain Kid, which I am stoked about. We can't play it this turn, but hey, I'm excited for next turn. Now we're going to swing 5,000 with our leader into their rested Zoro. They'll 1k counter out of that. I'm cooking up a dubious plan here. I could give 2 Don to Ivankov and then swing 6,000 into their leader. I don't think that's a bad idea at all, but I'm actually thinking I try to remove this Zoro and get cards out of their hand. Either way, I'm liking where we're at. 5,000 into the Zoro. My hope is that they counter out of both of these swings from Ivankov and Mihawk, and then I freeze it with the carrot, so there's no point in them having countered out of those attacks anyway. If they do let it go here, though, it's not a big deal because then I can play the 5-cost Nami, which is also a great card to play here. So either way, I win, folks. Either way, I win. They are really protecting this Zoro, which is probably too much in my opinion, but they don't know this is coming, so I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to apply a ton of pressure next turn, which would make a lot of sense, but unfortunately, that's going to bite them in the butt because we have that carrot. That Zoro is going to be frozen anyway. They just gave us 5k worth of counter and an Electrical Luna as one of their counter cards, so yeah, we're sitting pretty good, folks. We've got this decent board. Our leader is active, so we can use him to block any swings into Ivankov or Cavendish. We've got a decent amount of counter in hand. Not really a ton, but a decent amount. And then next turn, we're set up perfectly for an 8-cost useless Captain Kid play. 6,000 into our leader. I'm thinking we just take this. I don't really think it makes a ton of sense to use our 2K, our one and only 2K right away. And I don't want to necessarily give them 2 1Ks, but maybe giving them 2 1Ks would trick them to making them think that I don't have any 2Ks. So that's not the worst idea I've ever heard. We get the Cavendish out of our life, which is not the card we want to see right now. I love Cavendish, but don't really want to see him at this exact moment. 7,000 now with Sanji and Pudding. They're swinging first before they play anything because they know the Sugar will get value by resting one of them. Now I'm going to counter out with the 2K, 1K, probably this other Nami or the Pudding. I guess the Pudding because they don't really have a lot of cards in hand. It makes no sense for me to keep that Pudding in my hand. They've got 7 Don left up and they're going to have the Luffy Taro play. They'll cheat out a Zoro Joro off the Luffy Taro. With Sugar will rest the Luffy Taro. And I think we're in a decent spot now. We're going to be able to swing into their board a lot, or maybe we even pressure their life. They didn't leave any Don up. I think I'll probably play it more conservatively and play down the useless Captain Kid, but we'll see what happens. Of course, I have card draw with Ivankov and with Cavendish. Somehow, using leader ability, they're able to restand Don, though, and they're able to play an Electrical Luna, and that is really bad for us, folks. That might just cost us the game. 6,000 now into our life. I will 2 1K counter out of that just to keep us at 2. Yeah, I'm a little nervous here, folks. We were on such a roll, and then that just happened. That was huge for them, absolutely huge. 5,000 into their Zoro. I'm going to do a Eustace Captain Kid play and cheat out the 3-cost Flamingo blocker. So that's still going to be pretty solid, but I'm a little bit nervous that I lose here. They let the Zoro go, which is great news. 6,000 with Carrot into their Zoro Joro. We'll see if they let it go here. If they don't, they probably don't have any counter. They do counter out of it with the 2K. Only 1 card in hand, though, so that's good for us. I'm debating on what I should play over right here. I almost play over the Sugar, but then I'm like, no, duh, I have to play over the Cavendish. Why would I play over the Sugar? Now I'm going to use Eustace Captain Kid. I forgot to cheat out the 3-cost Dofi blocker. I am an absolute fool, ladies and gentlemen. I feel so dumb. Did I really just throw the game? I feel like we're playing very well, and I just threw the game absolutely. They're going to swing 11,000 into the Eustace Captain Kid. We'll use leader ability here, but is it really going to be enough? We get the Carrot, which is only a 1K. Now they're swinging 8,000 with the Zoro Joro, and they misplayed on their turn a little bit. I guess it's a misplay. I'm not sure exactly what options they really had in their hand, but they weren't able to clear the Eustace Captain Kidd. We top deck a Rosinante blocker, and now we are in prime position to probably win if we want to do that. Or maybe we play really conservatively. We're going to swing with Cavendish 6,000 at their life, draw 2 or trash 1, which is huge. Now we're going to swing 5,000 into their life with Ivankov. They didn't do leader ability, so they're only a 5k leader. I should have swung with Ivankov before Cavendish, but it's whatever. Now a 6,000 power swing with Carrot. They do have the 2k counter there. I'm debating on whether or not to go all in, and then I'm like, yes, I should go all in. What the heck am I doing? 7,000 now with our leader. They'll have to Gum Giant if they have it. Then we're just going to swing really big with Captain Kidd probably. Maybe we leave 2 Don up for a Rosinante. They do have the 0 cost 3,000 power counter event, but now they can't use Gum Giant if they have it. 13,000 into them. That's going to be game, folks. That one was really close at the end. I thought I was doing a great job and I was in the clear, but they had the Electrical Luna, which really threw off my game plan. Luckily, I was able to follow it up with the Eustace Captain Kidd, and they made a small misplay just not doing the right Don, divvying on their swings into my Eustace Captain Kidd. Instead of 11,000 with the Sanji and Pudding, it should have been 9,000 with 2 different things. Now we've got a game against Koby, not a leader I've been seeing a ton on the sim, so I don't have a ton of practice against him. Really interesting leader, but I don't think he did as well as people necessarily thought he would do in the meta. We're going to be going first. They're going to play a brand new on turn 1 for them. They draw a Helmeppo from OP11. I believe that's the 6 cost. We're going to start off with a 5,000 power Rosinante swing, and then I guess we just do the 3 cost Dofi here, set the top or bottom of our deck. We're going to play him out. We do have an interesting top of deck. We've got a Cavendish, we've got a Carrot, we've got another Eustace Captain Kidd, which we don't really need though, so maybe I put this at the bottom. I don't know. Maybe I should just put it at the top, draw that Cavendish, because Cavendish, again, is so strong. I'm probably going to say that in every single video. I absolutely love establishing Cavendishes early. Then if we get the other Eustace Captain Kidd off the Cavendish's card draw, we just trash it using Cavendish's ability. 4 Don for them to work with. We know they run the 4 cost Borsellino blocker. Maybe they play that. If they have the 4 cost Kuzan, maybe they play that. I'm not sure what the standard Koby build looks like, folks, so we're going into this relatively blind. For 1 Don, they will play down the Sengoku from starter deck 19. They trash 2, draw 1. They trash a Sengoku from EBO2, the 7 cost, and a Kuzan from OP11. Then they're going to play down another Sengoku, draw or trash 2, draw 3. They are absolutely wild, folks. Let's see what they have for 2 more Don. Another brand new, perhaps. Another Sengoku, perhaps. Either way, that's crazy. Maybe they swing for 7,000 too. For 1 Don, they're going to play out the Peacock, a new 1 cost Searcher that also has an ability from OP11. Still learning all the cards in OP11, folks, so I don't have all the explanations right on hand. For Peacock, you trash it, and then you give one of your Navy characters, I believe, plus 1,000 power. 4,000 into our Doflamingo using brand new. I actually am going to free block here with our leader. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then they're not even going to swing with their leader. I wonder if they're trying to starve me a bit or what their logic is there. I'm going to start maybe with the 4,000 power swing into their brand new just to clear it. I don't think that's the craziest thing I've ever done in the world. We're going to definitely establish the 4 cost Cavendish here, or maybe I play down the 5 cost Nami. Personally, though, I'm leaning towards the Cavendish. I decided to start with a 6,000 power swing into their life with our leader. 6,000 at them, they'll need to have a 2k, and they do. Now I'm thinking a 4k Cavendish or 4 cost Cavendish. Play him out, we get to restand our leader, and our leader is now a blocker, just in case they have any way to rest our Cavendish or our Dofi. Maybe I'll use that. For 6 Don, they've got the new Helmeppo from OP11. They're able to cheat out the 8 cost Koby from OP11. 9,000 into our Cavendish, and I was right, folks. They're able to swing into my Cavendish, and I'm definitely going to want to either block with Doflamingo or block with my leader. I decided to block with our Doflamingo, but in hindsight, I think I would have been fine to block with our leader too, just because I think I'm in a position to take life and it not be a big deal. 6,000 now with their leader into our leader. I'm leaning towards taking this. We still have 4 life, folks, so I think we're in a decent spot. Out of our life, we do get the 3 cost Tashigi 2k, which we are happy to have. We get the 5 cost Carrot off of our top deck, and while that is a good card, unfortunately, we can't really hit anything with it right now. I'm leaning towards a Nami play and maybe 2-cost Rosinante too. We'll see though. 6,000 power with Cavendish into their leader. Draw 2, trash 1, trashing one of our useless Captain Kids. 3 seems a little bit dramatic for this game. I don't really know if that's necessary. I also could go 2-cost or 4-cost Sabo here to protect the Cavendish from removal effects. For 2 Don, I'm going to play out the Rosinante and then also the Nami. I'm not going to swing with my leader. I can't because they're a 6,000 power leader. That doesn't really do me much good. Off the Nami, we draw 3, then top deck or bottom deck 2. I'll bottom deck the Emporio Ivankov and then a carrot. I don't need 2 carrots at this point in the game, I think. We're in a decent spot. They got 8 Don to work with. We could see a Garp. I believe that's the 8 Don card that a lot of Koby's really utilize. I'm not exactly sure though, folks. I am sorry. We are going to get on the OP11 grind right away though. Expect a lot more OP11 content coming soon. They've got the Honesty Impact event, minus 4,000 at Cavendish, popping my Nami. That is rough, folks. 5,000 into 2,000 power Cavendish. I'm really like, man, can I counter out of these? Should I keep the Cavendish alive? They're going to have 2 more swings after that. Does it make any sense, folks? That minus 4,000 is absolutely crazy right now. 5,000 with the brand new. I'm thinking maybe I just let it go. I do have 2 blockers and I do have plenty of counter in hand. Maybe it makes sense to keep it alive because then I can make up some of the cards I'm using to counter with Cavendish's draw 2 trash 1 effect. We're going to use leader ability there to take the hit from brand new into our leader. Now 5,000 into the Cavendish again. I'll block with Rosinante. That was a misplay. Now they're going to swing 7,000 into Cavendish. I should have just countered out of that Koby swing. That would have been way cheaper, so I'm a little bit foolish there. But I'm going to counter out of this Helmeppo swing. Maybe I'm making a huge misplay, folks. I'm sorry if you're losing respect for me. Hopefully this doesn't cost me the game. That was definitely a misplay, and maybe a double misplay. Blocking with the Rosinante might be a misplay, and then also countering out so much might be a misplay. I'm just going to put pressure on their life here. 6,000 into their life with Cavendish. Draw 2, trash 1. We get another Eustace Captain Kid, which I'm going to trash, which is pretty crazy. Now 5,000 with our leader. It's going to be a Eustace Captain Kid play, folks. We're going to be able to throw him down, use his ability, and cheat out either the Dofi or the Rosinante. Probably the Rosinante. And then we will pass it back to them. Our leader's active, so we can absorb an attack if we need to. For 6 Don, another Helmeppo is going to hit the field, which means another Koby is probably going to hit the field. They are going to swing big into our Eustace Captain Kid. They're going to start out with a 9,000 power swing, which we can 2k out of, which is very nice. After we counter out of that, they're probably going to swing another time with their Helmeppo. 8,000 now into 8,000. This again is another easy 1k counter. I'm going to give them the carrot here and not the Doflamingo because I do plan on probably playing the 3-cost Dofi out next turn just to add some more defense to our board. We're going to take the next hit or use our blocker leader to take the next hit. And now we get the 8,000 power swing from Koby into Eustace Captain Kid, which we do have the 1k counter, which we just got out of our life, so we'll use that. We're going to start out with the 6,000 power Cavendish swing, draw 2, trash 1. You know the drill, folks. We're going to trash that extra Cavendish. We don't want it. It doesn't have any counter. Why do we want that, folks? Now I'm thinking about how I should order my next couple of swings. I'm thinking here we play down the carrot and the 3-cost Eustace Captain Kid. That gives me 1 extra Don to work with because I do have to give one to my Eustace Captain Kid as well. I might start. Should I try to clear one of those Helmeppos with the Eustace Captain Kid swing? I don't know. I'll be able to freeze one with Carrot, but clearing another one would be very nice as well. I'm thinking that's what I do, even though in hindsight, maybe I should have just pressured life. They got so many cards in hand, though, I don't think I'd be able to go for lethal here. Next, I'm going to do a 6,000 power swing with our leader. They 1k counter out of that with the brand new. Now a 9,000 power Eustace Captain Kid swing into a Helmeppo. They might let this go. I was leaning towards thinking they'd let it go, but we'll see. They do 2k out of that. 1k, yep, they let it go. No problem, though. We'll play down Carrot. We'll play down the 3-cost Dofi blocker. That don't think at this point it really matters what we set on the top or bottom. I guess I maybe just put it at the bottom, and then I'll pass it back to them. We are in a very good spot, folks. At least I think. We've got 2 blockers on the board. We've got some decent bodies to swing for next turn. If they don't block her up this next turn, I think we're going to be in prime position to go for lethal. We'll see, though. How will they remove this Cavendish? Or, I mean, the Eustace Captain Kid. We'll see. For 8 Don, they have the 8-cost Monkey Eating Dragon Rush, giving 2 rested Don to their 6-cost Helmeppo. 9,000 into 8,000. I think we just use up our blockers here, folks, and we're going to be all right. 9,000 into 8,000. Let's block with our Rosinante. Now I'm thinking we block with our 3-cost Dofi. We don't have the counter to get out of this. 2 down left up for them. I don't think they're going to have any way to remove the Eustace Captain Kid this turn, and if that's the case, we are in prime position right here, folks. I should throw it down on Cavendish and swing 7 before I swing 6, or maybe I just swing 6. That was a little dramatic of me. I should have swung 7. I don't know. Common Johnny TCG misplay, F in the chat. They will 2K counter out of that. Now we've got a 7,000 power swing with our carrot. If they want to get out of this, they'll have to give us both cards from their hand. Or, I mean, maybe they play counter events, but I'm not sure if Koby plays any counter events. Either way, we're in an okay position. They will give us both cards from hand. Now we can just swing 5,000 with our leader. Unless there's a trigger, we will be alright. There is a trigger, but it's just to look at the top 3 and they'll take a card. They get the Sengoku 1K counter. Now we can swing with our 8-cost Eustace Captain Kid. And that is going to be game. GG's. That was an intense one. The Eustace Captain Kid is just so strong in this deck. I used to think he was best served in Bonnie, and while that still probably is the case, I do not think he should be slept on in this current deck. Now, I did have a game against Blue-Purple Luffy in between these 2 games, but I'm making it its own separate video because that was one of the most insane games I've ever played. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to have a whole video dedicated to it. You're going to want to see it. They are going to be on the even curve. They start out with a Hiyori play on their first turn, setting the top of their life. I'm a little bit nervous now. I'm going to swing 5,000 into their life. They will 1K counter out of that. We'll play the Ivankov and actually get lucky with the sugar. That's the best thing about this deck, folks, is you can get lucky and off the Ivankov when you do it blind. If you find something good like a sugar, that can completely change the course of the game for you, really just setting yourself up for success. It is so unfair to your opponent when they see that happen, you know, just like, dang, they really just did that to me. Unfortunately, they have the 2-cost Noriko to bounce our Ivankov back to our hand. That stinks. Off of Sugar's ability, we're able to rest the Hiyori. Then they'll swing 7,000 into the Sugar with their leader, and we will take the life instead. It's a bummer because they get to draw a card, but I think keeping that Sugar on board is just so valuable. Now, I'm thinking maybe we play out the Mihawk to cheat out the Cavendish, or maybe we just swing 6 with our Rosinante and then play out the Cavendish by itself. Decisions, folks. We're going to do a 7,000 power swing with our leader first, trying to put pressure on them early. They'll probably take this. I'm nervous about a trigger. They do have the trigger, the Banish Nami. That is a complete bummer. They're able to KO my Sugar, but I knew it was going to happen, so I had to do it, you know? I can't just not swing at them. Now we play out the Dracula Mihawk into the Cavendish. 6,000 body Cavendish. We love to see this card. Now they have another Noriko. Ooh, that hurts, folks. That really hurts. And they're going to play a Zeus to trash or draw the top card of their life. KO my Mihawk. Wow, folks, that's a bummer. 7,000 into our life. We're just going to take that. We don't have a ton of counter in hand, and things are not looking great for us, folks. The good news is that while they have a lot of characters on board, they're all weenies. They're not going to be able to do any damage to us. So, but we're still in a rough spot. 5,000 now, 5,000 into their life. They will use their leader ability to trash a Gum Gum Red Rock. I wonder if they're going to need that later on, folks. We're going to play the Ivankov into Cavendish and then pass to them. Hopefully these can stay on the board. If these can stay on the board, we're going to be in a good position, actually, with our Eustace Captain Kids and the blockers in our hand. One thing to note is that we do have our own Red Rock. We've got an 8-cost kid or 2 of them, so that if one does get Red Rocked, we've got another one right there, folks. 8 Don for them to work with here. I'm expecting a big body, and then they hit me with the Charlotte Pudding. I'm about to crash out. I had such a decent hand. I don't want to say amazing, but I had that 8-cost kid lined up. Man, that is such a bummer. Then they're going to swing big into my life. I just have to take that. Nothing I can do about that, folks. Not a great situation for me to be in. I'm thinking here we play down the Dofi blocker and then also maybe another Cavendish. I don't know. We'll see. I do need to get some cards out of my hand to maximize my Ivankov's ability. I also need to maximize my leader's ability. We'll see, though. I'm going to play down the 3-cost Dofi first, set the top of my deck. I do have that 8-cost Eustace Captain Kid coming up. I'm trying to figure out which way to draw makes the most sense because I will be able to draw with my Cavendish at the least. Now I'm going to swing 5,000 with Ivankov. We draw the 8-cost Eustace Captain Kid. Then they're going to use leader ability to trash an 8-cost kid from their own hand, get up to 7,000 power. I'm not really going to be able to put much pressure on them for the rest of the turn. I'm thinking here maybe we establish 2 sugars. Is that crazy? I feel like they're going to be great on defense, though, especially if they have that rush 8-cost blue Luffy that's new in OP11. 7,000 now with Cavendish. They will 1K counter out of that. I'm going to play down another Cavendish just because it's a dead card. I feel like I'm going to need every single counter card in my hand this next turn. If I can survive, we might be okay because we're going to have crazy card draw with our Cavendishes and our Ivankov if the Ivankov survives. 4,000 into the Ivankov. I'm thinking here I should free block with my leader. If they want to invest Don in swinging into my Cavendish, they can go ahead and do that. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to free block with my leader here. I really debated it. Maybe I should 1k counter out of that too. I'm actually going to 1k counter out of that. This might be a little bit risky, folks. You can let me know in the comments down below if you agree with this play or not. 10 Don for them still to work with. I don't know what to expect. Again, we're new to OP11. Deck lists are still developing. We've got some deck lists from the East, but I'm not super familiar with all of them. Do they run the 10 cost draw for Kaido? That's an interesting card on this list. I wonder if anyone's tried that yet. We'll see though. 6,000 into Ivankov here. Should I block with my leader and then 2k counter out of that? 9 Don for them still to work with. I kind of like that idea. Or maybe I should just not be greedy and let Ivankov go. I'm thinking here we do that though. We'll block with our leader, then give them a 2k. We'll see what we have, or they have. Maybe they've got the 9 cost Mihawk. They'll be able to bottom deck probably one of our Cavendishes. Gravity Blade Raging Tiger would also go insane here. For 8 Don, they will play down the 8 cost useless Captain Kidd. That lets them trash the top card of my life. Then at the end of their turn, they draw one, trash one, doing a little hand cycle. They'll pass it back to us, and we are not in the best of positions, folks. We're going to start with the 4,000 power Ivankov swing into their pudding. They let that one go. Now we're going to be able to get crazy card draw with our Cavendishes here. 6,000 now with our first Cavendish. They'll probably use leader ability to trash a card and become a 7k leader for the rest of the turn. That is nasty, folks. Now maybe we should give another Don to our other Cavendish, swing 7,000, even though this is an easy counter if they want to. We draw 2, trash 1. We've got a ton of counter in hand now, folks. I'm loving where we're at. We just have to hope that they do not have any removal like another Gum Red Rock. If they don't, we're going to be in such a strong position. Now, 8 cost uses Captain Kidd. We'll give him a Don and then cheat out. Should we cheat out anybody? Maybe the Sugar makes a lot of sense. I think I will do that. Cheating out the Sugar feels bad to replace the Ivankov, but I'm going to do what I have to do. I'll pass it back to them and see what they can cook up for 10 Don. Please don't have a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, or a Gum Red Rock. If they do have the Gum Red Rock, oh my god, they do. I'm about to crash out, folks. Every time I feel like my characters are getting removed. We'll see what they do here, if they go for life or if they try to clear my board. I really want to see another 8 cost. That would be great. They're going to go 9,000 into our 6,000 power Cavendish. I probably should let it go, but I feel like my only hope is to draw into another 8 cost Kid, so we'll see. 4 Don left for them to work with. They might just throw it all on their leader. 8,000 power now from their leader just into our life. They're skipping over the Cavendishes, and we've got the counter for that. I'll give them 2k counter Mihawks, and they'll pass it back to us. They'll draw 1, trash 1 with their 8 cost Kid. We do not, unfortunately, get a useless Captain Kidd off the top of our life, but we can potentially get one with our Cavendish abilities. 7,000 into them now. We do draw 1. Luck is maybe back on our side, folks. We might make a comeback. They surprised me by not using leader ability there, and they will instead take that hit. Now 6,000 with our other Cavendish. Draw 2, trash 1. You know the drill, folks. Luck has really turned around for us. We have the 8 cost Kid to play out, and then we can cheat out the 3 cost Doflamingo blocker. Still with that 2 cost Sugar on the board. We do have to be careful about triggers, though. They do use leader ability there. Now we can't really swing with our leader. That's a bummer, but it is what it is. 8 cost Kid coming out, hitting the floor. Second one has hit the board. Now we're going to be able to cheat out the 3 cost Dofi. We are going to, I guess keep this at the top, put it at the bottom. It doesn't really matter, folks. I don't think this game's going to go on for much longer. Are they going to be able to finish me here? If they're not, we're actually going to probably put a lot of pressure on their life next turn. I don't think it makes sense to try to clear their 8 cost Kid. We'll see though. We do have that 9 cost or the 6 cost Gum Red Rock in our hand. This Zeus does catch me off guard. They're going to take the top of their life, which is super risky, and then pop our 3 cost Dofi. By playing the Zeus though, we are able to rest their useless Captain Kidd. So unless they've got a rush card or they're going to swing really big into this useless Captain Kidd, that's pretty dangerous. A Gravity Blade Raging Tiger here would be pretty strong, but going down to 0 life, folks, that is really risky. Let's see what they can do though. I was right. They're just going to throw the rest of their Don on their leader besides 1. Swing 12,000 into the useless Captain Kidd. I can actually get out of this with like every single card in my hand, or not every single card, but just about every single card. And now we're just going to swing big into their life. 1 Don up. They probably have a counter event. That's what I'm assuming. They draw 1, trash 1 using that Kidd. 7,000 will start out with Cavendish. I think we're just going to swing 7s and maybe really big with our useless Captain Kidd. We'll see. We draw 2, trash 1. At this point, I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes. I also think playing down the Red Rock to pop their Eustace Captain Kid wouldn't be a bad idea either. I could cheat one out with their Eustace Captain Kid. Maybe that's a good idea. Just get rid of their big body, stay alive another turn behind our Eustace Captain Kid. They only have 3 cards in their hand though. It is so tempting just to go for game here, but they are a 7,000 power base leader, and you know how that goes. I might just say screw it though. I'm gonna say screw it. Swing big into their leader, 16,000. No way they can get out of this, right? Maybe they can. No, they can't. A close one though. GG's. I was almost conservative, but I don't think it really would have mattered anyway. I kind of think I overthought that last turn. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the games I got for you today. What did you think about them? Again, I've got a crazy blue-purple Luffy leader game that I cut out of this just because I want to make my own video on it. So if you've made it this far, you're probably a real one and watch most of my videos. But if you haven't, if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button because you're going to want to see that game if you enjoyed today's games. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let me know what other leaders you want to see in the comments down below. Let me know if I'm awesome. Let me know if I'm cringe. That's all I got to say today. Peace.